Ah, Texas. What a wondrous place full of rednecks and scandals about panhandles.
Enough of that boring old stuff. Today we're going to talk about Texas. Not the one that you and I know today, but one from long, long ago. And by a long time ago, I mean 150 years ago-ish.
That's right. There was this guy, Santa Anna, and he had a wooden leg that was stolen twice. Two different wooden legs, but they were both for the right leg. It was at the left. Either way, he didn't have two wooden legs at once. It's like a pirate, not Lieutenant Dan. And both of them are in museums now. The legs, not Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, and I mean, he was there and all, but let's start from the beginning. The year was 1823, and Mexico had just given the boot to Spain. They were all like,
Bifurcation.
America was all like, hey, can we, scoot on in there?
Mexico said, sure, all right, but only if the people you send to Mexico become Mexican citizens and become Catholic. In addition, they also asked that none of the Americans bring any of their own slaves, as they didn't want slavery being practiced in Texas. I wonder if they left that fact in the textbooks.
The guy who organized this whole deal was named Stephen Austin. The families he sent to Mexico were called the Old 300 because they were old, and there were 300 of them. Anyway, those families they sent, well, they didn't follow the rules Mexico had set for them. Some just disregarded the first two, but basically everyone flat out broke the third rule, hauling their slaves all the way to Texas.
Now, for a while, this wasn't a huge deal, even though the Mexicans were all like, you guys really can't do that here, and the Americans, consistent with the rest of history, continued to disregard them. Much like Mrs. G trying to get her class to do work, they just wouldn't listen. So after taking 7 years of American bison dookie, the Mexicans got fed up and straight up banned slavery.
So America goes, alright, we aren't going to have slavery. After ignoring this proclamation for a while, Mexican President Santa Anna decided he wanted to show the Texans who was boss.
Texas declared its independence in 1836, calling itself the Lone Star Republic. Santa Anna, not being quite as kind as his clawsy counterpart, decided to raise his army of Mexicans and crush Texas between his wooden toes. Santa Anna brought 6,000 troops to the Alamo, where only 200 stubborn Texans sat with their arms crossed. Kind of like Washington's reaction to the Whiskey Rebellion, and parts of the AP class when we're told we can't play werewolf.
You may have heard that famous saying, remember the Alamo. Well, it comes from the slaughter of those 200 Texans. Another beatdown by Santa Anna at Goliad led to those angry Texans getting even angrier.
But here's the kicker. This guy, named Sam Houston, being the president of Texas and all, was thinking about Twisted Sister, and he was like, all for Juan and Juan for all, you know? So Sam Houston grabs his shotgun and marches right into the Battle of San Jacinto. They catch Santa Anna during a siesta and put the smackdown on him for like 20 minutes before he was captured.
So, those rowdy Texans made him sign a treaty at gunpoint, saying that Texas was a big boy now and he could move out on his own. But as soon as Santa Anna was in the safety of his Mexican shack mansion, he called the scribes forward and told them to spread the news across the land that the treaty was about as legitimate as Gerald Ford's presidency. Meanwhile, in the halls of justice, good old Andrew Trail of Tears Jackson formally recognized Texas as independent, and the Texans celebrated their newfound freedom.
But Texas got tired of being by itself pretty quick. And asked to move into the frat house with the rest of the states. And the industrialists in the north were like, no, we're not going to throw off the feng shui here with another slave state. So they decided to put a pin in Texas and let it fester for a bit.
Yet, Americans became increasingly more worried that the possible annexation of Texas would be nothing but dust in the wind, as Texas made friends across the lake with Britain, France, Belgium, and Holland. This would bring the price of cotton down, since England could get their cotton from the cheap, shady dealer rather than the mega corporation that owned like 537 other companies. Being friends with England meant that for the Monroe Doctrine, it was like being mugged in an alleyway by your best friend.
When the election of 1844 rolled around, James K. Polk came and made it clear that he wanted to expand the nation. When he won, it was said that people had basically voted for expansionism. Basically, as soon as he was elected president, he annexed Texas and was all like, boom, done.